Welcome. I know that some of you are a captured audience that didn't realize you'd be hanging out this afternoon for our performance as well, so I want to thank you for sticking with. My name is Kelly McGuire. I've been a member of Sages before it even became a nonprofit theater. When she called me young, when she introduced me as a young lady, that tickled me because you have to be at least 50 to really participate in Sages. Some of our parts are written for younger people, and we welcome younger people, but for the most part, we are looking for 50 and up. So if you've ever wanted to, dance in front of the footlights and have a monologue or a soliloquy, we are looking for your talent. Right now we have, I'm sure Christine mentioned this, we have 3 shows that we've got going on and more to come. There's a flyer there at the front that tells you what we've got going on next weekend. All of our shows are free to the public because we are a nonprofit. We fundraise so that we can present shows for seniors, by seniors, about seniors, free of charge to our audience. So even if you can't make the show, take a flyer, pass them out, give them away, go to our website, sages.org, learn a little bit more about us. We want to take care of our population of seniors in Florida and beyond. That's our goal. So I want to thank you for coming to our Reader's Theater. How many of you have ever been to a Reader's Theater before? A couple people. A Reader's Theater is very similar to a staged reading, where people read a play, but there's really no action, they're not standing up, there's no props. So their voice is their instrument, okay? And so I'm so proud of this group here. We came together and we had a word, aging. That was our theme. And they dug and they read and they wrote and they came up with what you're going to see here today. In your script is a list of the authors. There's also going to be some authors' names that they throw out that you might recognize as we go through. So with that one word, we opened our minds and we thought about what aging means to each one of them. They all participated in this exercise. And we brought what they felt about aging, their thoughts about aging, to you today. So before I move on and let them have the stage, we really want to thank the Hale Center for letting us come here and use their space. At night we have Jason and Jake here. They're both lovely. They are young men. They're lovely young men who really help us out. Elaine helped us get set up for success here. We want to thank you again for being our audience, and I would like to welcome you to From Cradle to Grave, Becoming Older, Wiser, and Never Giving Up.
Definition of aging: the time of life at which some particular qualification, power, or capacity arises or rests.
First communion,
Driver's license.
Military draft.
the right to vote,
One of the stages of life.
zygote,
Mewling infant?
middle age,
Well, that was fast. Retiree?
An advanced stage of life.
I got nothing.
I'm done.
Definition of older: having lived for a long time, no longer young, belonging only or chiefly to the past, former, or previous.
definition of wiser, characterized by wisdom, marked by a deep understanding, keen discernment, and a capacity for sound judgment.
That's more like it.
Yeah, you got that. Exercising or showing sound judgment, being prudent.
And other people besides Webster's have a lot to say about aging.
George Bernard Shaw, the playwright, said, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stopped playing.
And then the wise Ben Franklin said, "Those who love deeply never grow old. They may die of old age, but they die young."
Mark Twain added, age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, doesn't matter.
And I was thinking about how people tend to read the Bible more often as they get older. Then it dawned on me, they're practicing for their final exam. That was George Carlin.
Now, listen here. Old age is an excellent time for outrage. My goal is to say or do at least one outrageous thing every week. And I learned that from Maggie Coon.
When looking for wise words, the best ones often come from our elders.
That's right.
Right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
they do.
Absolutely.
I'm still here. I still matter. My looks are nothing special. My face reveals my age. My body shows some wear and tear. And my energy's not the same.
Too often, my memory fails me. I lose things all the time. One minute, I know what I plan to do, and the next, it may just slip my mind.
I try to avoid my mirror. There are things I'd rather not see. And even those times when I catch a glimpse, I no longer recognize me. Who is that?
First,
The things I used to do with ease can now cause aches and pains, and the quality of the things I do will never quite be the same.
I always compare my older self to those younger versions of me, and I know I'm wasting too much time missing who I used to be.
But the thing that really makes me sad is despite what people see, underneath my tattered, worn-out shell, I'm still the same old me.
Yes.
My heart can still feel endless love, and at times it can still ache. My heart can fill with so much joy,
Joy!
and then it can suddenly break.
My soul can still feel sympathy and longs for forgiveness and peace.
And there are times its light shines boldly through, and times when it longs for release.
It is true maybe now that I'm older, feeling lonely maybe my status quo, but it also makes me more willing to forgive and let the past conflicts go.
So maybe to some I look ugly and old.
A person who barely exists.
I'm still aware of the beauty inside.
And my values should not be dismissed.
So although not as strong and no beauty, it's true, I'm still here and want so much to live.
And I know there's no one in the world quite like me, and no one who has more to give.
No one. You know, I'm just wondering, I wonder sometimes if I'm close to the end of my firsts.
First,
Yeah, first, like getting my first tooth.
I'm closer to losing my last tooth.
All right, so my first car,
Yes!
oh, now I get it.
The milestones of your life, the advancement of the human span of experience, the rites of passage we all traverse through.
My first kiss was wet.
Mine came from an adorable neighborhood boy. His name was Scott Wilson. Yeah. Don't you remember the name of the person who planted their first kiss on your lips? Anybody? Yeah. See, I'm not the only one.
Remember?
First car, I remember. That was a big rite of passage for me. Who remembers their first car?
Who remembers? Who remembers? What was
What
it?
was it?
Chevy Impala.
All right. What was it? All right. Mine was a Camaro.
Mine was a 58 Volkswagen. Volkswagen.
How about our jobs?
My first job was a clerk at an auto parts yard.
My first job was at a library.
Filling station attendant.
I was a nurse's aide in what they used to call an old folks' home.
Okay, but you know, what did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be, sure. I wanted to be an actress.
Performing is my first love.
Mine too!
Isn't that amazing? They all got what they wanted.
Hey, we better get going. We have our Reader's Theater to perform. From cradle to grave, becoming older, wiser, and never giving up.
When I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for small town girls. Ooh-wee! Soft summer nights. We hide from the lights on the village green when I was 17.
When I was 21, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for city girls. We lived up the stairs with our perfumed hair, and it came undone when I was 21.
When I was 35, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for blue-blooded girls. Independent means we'd ride in limousines. Their chauffeurs would drive. When I was 35.
But now, the days are short. I'm in the autumn of my years. But now I think of my life as vintage wine.
From fine old kegs.
From brim to dregs.
It was sweet and clear.
It was a very good year.
Age is irrelevant. Ask me how many sunsets I've seen, how many hearts I've loved, trips I've taken, or concerts I've been to. That's how old I am.
How
How many sunsets have you seen?
When I get older, losing my hair many years from now,
Will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine?
If I'd been out till 2:45, would you lock the door?
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
you'll be older too, and if you say the word, I could stay with you. I could be handy, mending a fuse when your lights have gone. You can knit a sweater by the fireside.
Sunday mornings go for a ride, doing the garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more?
Will you still need me?
Will you still feed me?
When I'm 64.
Every summer, we can rent a cottage in the Isle of Wight. If it's not too dear, we shall scrip and say, grandchildren on your knee, Vera, Chuck, Dave.
Send me a postcard, drop me a line stating point of view. Indicate precisely what you mean to say. Yours sincerely, wasting away.
Give me your answer. Fill in a form. Mine forevermore.
Will you still need me?
Will you still feed me?
When I'm 64.
Oh!
Is this the little girl I carried?
Is this the little boy at play?
I don't remember growing older. When did they?
When did she get to be a beauty?
When did he grow to be so tall?
Wasn't it yesterday that they were small?
Sunrise and sunset.
Sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the days.
Seedlings turn overnight to sunflowers,
Blossoming even as we gaze.
Sunrise, sunset.
Sunrise, sunset.
Swiftly fly the years.
One season following another.
Laden with happiness and tears.
What words of wisdom could I give them?
How can I help to ease their way?
Now they must learn from one another, day by day.
Oh, they look so natural together.
Just like two newlyweds should be.
Sunrise, sunset.
Sunrise, sunset.
Swiftly fly the years.
One season following another.
Laden with happiness and tears.
I remember when I could walk into a grocery with $2 in my pocket and walk out with a loaf of bread, a dozen eggs, and even a little butter. Now there's too many darn cameras, everyone being photographed without knowing. When asked about my good old days, I respond, they were back when I wasn't good and wasn't old.
This is Sandy Sumter coming to you from the Hale Center in Dunedin, Florida. The accumulation of wisdom appears to be nature's form of compensation for the body's insistence to age. Memory worsens as we get older.
Having memory issues isn't so bad. I keep making new friends. Same old jokes make me laugh so hard my sides ache. I keep watching this year's Super Bowl and I'm always shocked when the Kansas City Chiefs win. And at night, I pray God grant me senility to forget those I never liked.
But research shows, and research also suggests that our strategy for the way that we process thoughts and information changes for the better.
I've always said that I will never let an old person into my body. That is, I don't believe in thinking old. Don't program yourself to break down as you age with thoughts. That decline is inevitable.
Older decision makers make significantly better choices because they use their frontal cortex, where more rational and deliberate thinking is controlled.
We 21st century seniors are not going gently into that good night. Unlike our parents who were resigned to growing up and getting old, we're passing 60, 70s, kicking and screaming all the way.
Scans of the brain reveal that younger adults typically employ just a single hemisphere to solve a particular problem, while older folks will usually use both parts of their noggins simultaneously.
And most of us refuse to get old at all. We go on juice fast and Botox up a storm in a desperate rush to stay young. But wait, if you're determined to never grow old, how can you ever be old and wise? You just morph into a wrinkled geriatric toddler.
On the other side, there's our infatuation with positive aging. The idea that getting older means getting better, more creative, happier, serene.
Every wrinkle and silver hair, well, okay, gray, is a sign of more wisdom. We're the elders and respect is due us.
Well, I don't feel better or more serene. I'm achy, and I'm cranky, and I can't remember stuff. Why can't I just experience some inner peace, God forsakes? I want to finally grow up and get it right.
I want to feel that I've finished my unfinished business. To be someone who accepts herself the way she is, instead of sitting around wishing she had thinner thighs, to finally become wise. I should be able to accomplish this tiny task. After all, I've been in therapy all my life.
Oh, good pen, good for you, Penny.
Fanny Bryce said, "Let the world know you as you are, not as you think you should be. Because sooner or later, if you are posing, you will forget the pose, and then where are you?"
Faith Baldwin said, "Time is a dressmaker, specializing in alteration."
Arthur Schopenhauer said, "Closing years of our life are like the end of a masquerade party when the masks are drunk."
And Julie Margolin, who was part of our group at one point, said, "Don't let this happen to you. Don't let yourself die with a song left inside of you."
Helena Rubinstein said, "I believe in hard work. It keeps the wrinkles out of the mind and the spirit. It helps to keep a woman young."
And Golda Meir added, "Being 70 is not a sin."
Comedian Groucho Marx said, "Anyone can get old. All you have to do is live long enough." I got a couple of things I need to talk about with you.
Yeah, Grandpa?
Yeah, I guess me and your grandma are going away.
Where to?
Well, that's not important. What's important is when we get where we're going, we'll never be sick. We won't get any older. And we won't ever die.
You're joking me, right?
No. No.
Would I be able to visit you and Grandma?
No. And we wouldn't be able to visit you either. And that kind of bothers me.
I'd never see you again?
No.
When would you go if you did?
Soon. Soon. And do you know where?
Where?
Look up. Outer space.
Who's going to take you to outer space?
It don't matter. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, and I can't tell your mother because she'd then know her old man had snapped his cap. I wonder if they'll have fishing holes there. There's some things they won't have. They won't have grandkids, and they won't have baseball games, and they won't have hot dogs. They won't have that kind of stuff, and I'm going to miss all of it.
And I'm going to miss you.
A person's attitude is much more important than facts, the past, education, money, circumstances, failures, successes, or what others say or do. We have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace on that particular day. We cannot change the inevitable. We may only have one string on our guitar, but we can play the heck out of that one string. Life is 10% what happens to each of us and 90% of how we react to it.
I am more careful. Things are harder. People are not as
Kind?
As helpful, moral,
I have seen people my age being taken advantage of. I get scam emails and text messages all the time.
I do
Me
too.
too.
I get so many of them. But did you hear about Ralph?
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Ralph Howard,
Yes. Good morning.
this is Miss Slater from your bank with some bad news. Your account has been compromised.
What? My account? What do you mean?
The account linked to your credit card ending 9330. Now it wasn't just you. A pack of thieves must have gone through the trash in your neighborhood and found credit cards and bank information discarded by you and all the residents.
Must be those teenagers trespassing again, juvenile delinquents.
Now you don't have to worry. We have canceled your credit and debit cards to protect you. I just need the full number on the corresponding account and any passwords so that I can freeze them. Now, for security reasons, this doesn't show up on my computer.
I have that on a card here in my wallet. Thank you for calling me.
Oh, you are so welcome, Mr. Howard. It is our job. Anyway, because other people in your neighborhood were victimized, we have sent out a representative out to collect those cards from you. They're not usable, but they're needed right away for supporting evidence to make that arrest.
Well, I want those kids arrested, and I will press charges.
Oh, be sure now to write down those PIN numbers so that the detective can trace those attempts to make that purchase. They won't go through, so don't worry about that. And it just will help us identify the thieves. And besides, new cards are being issued as we speak, and that they won't be valid until you create new PIN numbers. Oh, it is perfectly safe.
Oh, I appreciate your help. All I get lately is bad news. I just hope those thieves get caught. I'll do anything I can to help with that.
Oh, now, I did mean to warn you, Mr. Howard. It might not be trespassers that you're thinking of. It could be somebody in your own neighborhood. So please, don't talk about this and tip them off.
You're right. I lived in the same neighborhood all my life. My neighbors have changed. I'm just going to keep to myself. I think I hear someone at the door.
Now, just be safe. Ask for his ID before you let him in. You have nothing to worry about, sir. We are here for you. Goodbye, Mr. Howard. Thank you for banking with us.
Goodbye. I got to get the door.
But just be safe. We're here for you. Now, thank you for banking with us.
Goodbye.
Easy peasy.
Half a Blanket, an original story by Janice Banks. A frail old man went to live with his son, daughter-in-law, and 4-year-old grandson. He taught his grandson all he knew, including how to respect the forest, the animals, and life.
Grandfather's hands trembled, his eyesight was blurred, and his step faltered. The family ate together at the table, and the elderly grandfather's shaky hands and failing eyesight made eating quite difficult. Peas rolled off of his spoon onto the floor, and one day a bowl from which he was eating fell on the floor and broke. And soon his son and his daughter-in-law just were becoming irritated just with all these accidents.
One day, a man could take it no more. He asked his young son to take his father out to the forest and leave him there. He gave his son a blanket to cover his grandfather.
The young son was so saddened by what he knew he needed to do, he quietly and carefully walked his grandfather out to the middle of the forest and sat him down next to a big, beautiful tree. The young son had such tears in his eyes as he tenderly kissed his grandfather goodbye, covering him lightly with half the blanket his father had given him. As he walked back to the house, he could only cry to himself for this terrible thing he had done.
Upon reaching the house, he carried the other half of the blanket his father had given him. His father stopped and asked what it was for, and his son replied,
Well, this is the half a blanket is for you when the time comes and I have to leave you in the forest.
With tears in his eyes, the father asked his son to take him where he had left his grandfather. Together they brought grandfather back to sit at the table with them.
And they never mentioned this again. walking on air. Lenny is my name. But sometimes a person doesn't know what they want until they aren't given it. Then you need to look at what you do have and learn to live with that and make the best of your situation, because what's the alternative? Living in misery? Now I know this girl, spoiled rotten her whole life, comes from some well-to-do family, and she's been given the life of Riley treatment always. Now I went to school with her, but at some point we kind of broke off, and she went her way, I went my way. But then one day I bumped into her, not too long ago actually, and shopping on the avenue, and wouldn't you know that the second our eyes met and we connected, she was off and running her mouth about how miserable she was. Made me realize what I've always suspected, that you are given what you are given in life, and it's up to you to give that life, give it all your life you can, and to do the best and make the best out of it. I'm just saying, enjoy your life. Make life worth living at all times. Nothing worse than having everything but finding yourself bitter because you really had nothing.
Enjoy your life.
Make life worth living.
At all times.
Yes, at all times.
I suppose real old age begins.
When one looks backward,
Rather than
forward. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciated it, and the experience was just a lot of fun to get together and really personalize what getting older means to us. And I know I could tell by looking out there that you were all going on your own journeys as we spoke. So that was the point. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you for
it with
coming.
us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
It was
Very
fun
good.
to be
And there's
able
still
to
more refreshments over there.
Help yourself to cookies, a nice